Hi, welcome to the Run Before You Walk podcast. My name is Steven.
I'm Matt.
And we're here today to talk about a scenario that a lot of churches are talking about right now, which is, can you do live streaming for $1,000? Break. I always forget the break.
The break, yeah.
We gotta shift over here.
We gotta shift over, okay, cool. Steven, I'm a part of a denominational church. I'm a pastor in a system that likes to give out tiny amounts of money to solve enormous problems. Right. So I see these emails going out all the time that say, we have $1,000 grants to get you live streaming.
Okay.
So $1,000.
Yeah, that's not a lot for live streaming. Yeah, let's talk about what live streaming, actually, there are costs involved. So if you're gonna live stream, you've gotta have a computer that's actually gonna connect to the internet, or you can get a machine that'll do that. They make a box for about $500 that'll do that. You gotta have one of those. You have to have a switcher that will switch between cameras if you're gonna do multiple cameras. And you have to have cameras, of course, and then you've gotta have a way to get good, high quality audio into your live stream.
But Steven, why can't I just put an iPhone up in the balcony?
Yeah, I think the answer is that we've all seen what that looks like.
What does it look like? Go ahead and describe it for us.
It looks bad, man. It looks bad. It looks real bad.
It looks bad.
I think here's the thing. For me, this is the core thing that it breaks down to. And we have to remember, I think for the COVID crisis, so many of our churches, we were struggling to get online and we've lost track of the goal. And now a lot of us think that the goal is to get live streaming, but that's not the goal. The goal is to have high quality video.
Okay, so if our goal is high quality.
Do you know why that's the goal? Because that sounds like a jerky thing for me to say.
Yeah, tell me.
It's because every single American has grown up watching TV. Every single American has grown up knowing the difference between good looking video and bad looking video. And good looking video isn't very difficult to achieve, but it does take some work. And it's hard to do that on a live streaming $1,000.
So let's say I'm committed to live streaming.
Okay.
And I want to live stream.
Okay.
I'm committed to it.
Okay.
What's it going to cost me?
It's going to start around $10,000. If you want to do it where it looks reasonably good, you're starting around $10,000.
$10,000.
If you don't have $10,000, it will not look good. Now, there's a lot of churches that are trying. There's a new camera technology called Mevo. I see a lot of churches talking about Mevo cameras because Mevo cameras promise to cost $200 or $300 each, and then you can control them with like your iPhone or something like that, and they all live stream. You don't need switchers, you don't need anything. They stream directly through your church's built-in Wi-Fi. So you have to have good Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But then you can get what did I say, 200? They might be 300.
Okay.
But you can still under $1,000.
But I'm doing the math.
Right.
And I'm at my $1,000.
You're at your $1,000.
I'm at my $1,000.
And I think that's why a lot of churches do it. But I want to say this: if you're thinking about this option, if you're thinking about the Mevo option, go find some of your colleagues who are using the Mevo option and look at the quality of their live stream and ask yourself this question: am I going to watch this? You're probably looking at a colleague, maybe somebody you actually know, you care about, no, you're gonna have a hard time watching it because you're gonna click away just like you do when you're looking up gardening videos or anything else on YouTube. If the video quality is really bad, you click away, you find somebody else who gives you advice.
So what do I do? What do I do? I've got $1,000. What do I do?
And maybe you're in a really small church that you just really don't have a whole lot more resources. Yeah. So here's the thing. I think we have to remember that actual live streaming that looks pretty good costs about $10,000 and requires a team of volunteers. Yeah. At least 4 volunteers. If you're gonna do, and that can quickly expand to, you said you're currently at 8 volunteers.
We're still trying to dial in the quality here of our live stream. Mm-hmm. And we have 8 on the team every week. Every single week, 8 people.
Yeah. And then, okay, so you've got that, and then you've got to have a bigger team than that because the same 8 people don't show up every week, right? So you got to
It's more like 24.
It's 24?
More like 24.
Yeah, so your church might be able to shrink that down a little bit, but you're not going to get much below 5 or 6 permanent volunteers. So that's what it costs to live stream well, $10,000 and at least a team of 5 or 6 tech volunteers. That includes your audio and your PowerPoint in service. It all kind of ties together. If you can't come up with that, in a lot of churches, that's not going to happen in the next year. I really think you should be doing pre-recorded. You know, pre-recorded you can do for less money, and the cost you sort of spread out a little bit more. You do it with fewer volunteers. You probably need one volunteer in your church to do pre-recorded. And you can pull it off for an initial investment of about $1,000. For about $1,000, you can get a pretty good camera and a pretty good microphone, a pretty good little system to record.
With some good lighting, don't forget the lighting.
Right, you gotta invest a little bit in lighting.
Yeah.
But you're at about $1,000 to do that well. And then the editing and all that stuff, there's a variety of ways to handle that. You can either have a volunteer at church handle that, or actually my company, Capital Hope Media, can help you with that. But we're talking about a lot less money, and money that you get to spread out over a long time, and a much smaller team of volunteers.
Yeah, in our church here, we do have a live stream, and I can speak as a pastor that it's incredibly difficult to in the midst of a live worship service, think about the congregation who's sitting in the pews and the ones who are sitting at home. It's very difficult to minister to both, and so we're going to be adding in days to come not just the live stream, but we'll be doing a pre-recorded midweek worship service as well, because of how difficult it is to reach our digital parishioners.
Yeah, I think a lot of pastors really want to go live stream because it's been so much work to do pre-recorded.
Yes.
And they think live stream is going to be less work. I think two things. One, it's not actually less work for the pastor in the end. And two, I think if you structured the way you were handling pre-recorded a little bit differently, it wouldn't be so much on the pastor.
If your goal is discipleship,
right, that's our goal.
I'm not sure that it's easier to have a live stream with both at the same time. Mm-hmm. If your goal is those digital parishioners turning into digital disciples, you've got to do a lot of thought and a lot of prayer specifically to them. And that's why we're moving in that direction.
Yeah. Okay, we've given a lot of opinions. Let's do a quick summary. What did we actually say here today?
We had, if I have $1,000, can I live stream? And the answer is yes, but it's gonna not be great.
Yeah. Two is the goal is high quality video, because people click away from low quality video.
And the third is we believe strongly in a pre-recorded worship experience for our digital parishioners, hopefully digital disciples.
Yeah, I think that really connects to some videos we did a while ago on what are your actual goals for your hybrid worship.
Yeah, go back and check out the goals.
Yeah, and I think,
this has been Run Before You Walk podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Steven.
See you next time.
Hi, I'm Steven.
I'm Matt.
And this is Run Before You Walk podcast. Today we're going to talk about a scenario we've been hearing about a lot online in pastors' forums, and it's, can you live stream well for $1,000?
Yeah, so why $1,000? I'm the pastor of a denominational church, and I see these emails go around all the time, like, let's get you live streaming. So they're giving out these $1,000 grants to churches to help them get started in live streaming. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like a great idea, so I'm like, let's go. Yeah. Let's live stream for $1,000. So how do we live stream for $1,000, Steven?
You can live stream for $1,000, okay, but it's gonna be bad. Technically, you can get cameras connected to the internet for under $1,000. But
Steven, I'm just gonna grab an iPhone. I'm gonna put it up in the balcony. You have a wide angle shot. You'll see me.
You'll see everything.
You'll see me up in the pulpit. You can see the whole thing. You can even see the people, like your friends. When you're home, you see your friends, like their hymnals out. Like,
maybe connected to the soundboard if you want to get advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think a A lot of us check in on some of our friends who pastor other churches, and I think if you look at churches who are doing that, you will quickly realize something. That always looks bad. The quality of the video is low. There's another scenario, not using iPhones. There's a new company out that sells Mevo cameras, and a lot of churches are attracted.
I've seen a few people saying those are the solution for us.
That's right. I see that too.
So even in some of these emails, if let's get streaming for $1,000, we'll buy you your Mevos.
I know. Yeah. A lot of churches are buying the Mevos. But here's the thing. Before you go buy Mevos, or before you commit deeply to just doing it with one phone, go look at some of your colleagues' churches who are doing that and see what the quality looks like. And I think you'll discover, actually, the end results are pretty crummy.
Did you sit through the whole service?
Yeah.
That's the big question to me, is did you sit through all 1 hour and 15 minutes of Communion Sunday?
Yeah, you probably didn't. You saw lots of camera angles where it's like looking down on the pastor's head, or like people aren't actually, they're like half off the frame. They're kind of like this, You see all kinds of stuff. And the truth is, like, it's easy to pick on that because it's hard to get that stuff right in a live situation. But the truth is, at the end of the day, you don't want to watch that stuff either.
So let's say I have the $1,000 and I'm like, well, maybe it'll cost me a little bit more to live stream. I'm committed to live streaming.
Yeah.
I want to reach these potential digital disciples, these digital congregants.
Uh-huh.
So let's live stream. What you gonna charge? What is the world gonna charge me, Stephen?
The world, if you really want to do live streaming and you want to do it well, what it's actually going to take is it's going to start around $10,000.
$10,000.
It's going to take your tech team. You probably got, before COVID, many of our churches had maybe one person sort of running
doing
all
sound,
the tech.
doing PowerPoint at the same time,
right?
Something like that.
You're going to need 3 to 4 volunteers every single week for that, and so our churches know that means you need a team of at least 6, 7, 8 because people.
So you're telling me the bare minimum entry point for a quality video live stream is $10,000 and 8 people?
Yeah. Yeah, and practice.
Wow.
It will take this team time to get where they're delivering fairly consistent quality. Yeah.
Wow. So I got $1,000.
Right.
What do I do?
$1,000.
What do I do? I got $1,000. What do I do with my $1,000? Like, the denomination sends it to me. I've got to spend it. What do I do?
Yeah. So I think if you're actually in that situation where about $1,000 is what you've got, you should be doing pre-recorded. And I know a lot of pastors, a lot of churches don't like pre-recorded because I think this is the core of the issue. We think pre-recorded is more work for the pastor. And I have a couple responses to that. One, pre-recorded done well doesn't add much work to the pastor, other than meaning they have to get the sermon done earlier. I don't think there's a way around that. But the rest of it should be offloaded onto a volunteer. A volunteer should show up, record the pastor. A volunteer, or you can hire my company, Capital Hope Media, to do this, should be doing the video editing and things like that. The pastor should not be doing all of that stuff.
Right.
And I think if you really, like $1,000 is hard for your church to come up with, you should be doing pre-recorded because you can spend around $1,000, $1,200 in camera gear, lights, and probably a little bit of audio and have great looking stuff. Frankly, you can do that if you would get good quality audio and good lighting. You can do that with a phone camera.
If you everyone's got a phone.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be way under $1,000 for some people.
You could do it for, right.
A few $100.
Yeah, as long as you've got a volunteer who's willing to sit there and make sure the pastor's in frame doing the recording, things like that. In that scenario, you come up with, what do we have, $10,000 and a team of 6, 7, 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. In this scenario, you can get by for $1,000 initial investment and one good volunteer. You might have to buy them a computer you can edit video on, or you might have to farm that out to a company like mine.
Yeah.
So that does have a recurring expense, but it doesn't demand a big upfront thing like live streaming.
And if our goal is discipleship,
right?
We're really hoping to have digital congregants become digital disciples. I know for me as a preacher, it's really hard to think of the 2 rooms.
Okay.
There's the in-person room. Yeah, we're live streaming right now. So at the church that I just moved to, we're live streaming. And I'm trying to think about the people in the pews here and the people sitting at home. Mm-hmm. And if we're trying to think about how to share the gospel message of a deeper relationship with Christ with both kinds of people, it just doesn't hit the same way when you're doing them both at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's going to take you practice, and it's going to take time to get there.
So I think it actually takes more time to do live stream.
Okay.
If it's done well.
And
if your goal is discipleship.
Yeah. So let's summarize real quick. What important things
Should we live stream with $1,000?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Do pre-recorded.
And how much is it going to cost if we wanted to do it?
To do true live streaming, $10,000 and a team of 6 to 8 volunteers. But pre-recorded, $1,000 up front-ish, and then an ongoing thing with either 1, maybe 2 volunteers, or you can farm some of that out. What's the goal?
What's the goal?
High quality video, because no one will watch low quality video. We all grew up with TV. None of us are going to tolerate low quality video.
Yeah, the goal is not live, it's good, right? That's what I think I hear you say.
That's a catchy way to say that.
So this has been Run Before You Walk. I'm Matt.
I'm Steven.
We'll see you next time.